My first real home in the world of daytime television was the set of Days of Our Lives. I was there for the first time, when I took on the part of Belle Black, a heroine who carried the burden of Salem's past in her heart, while navigating the kind of drama that could only be delivered by a soap opera. I was just 19 years old at the time. It was 1999, and I was a young girl from Orlando who was forced into a world of experienced performers, tight schedules, and scripts that demanded you feel everything thoroughly. Sometimes it was too deeply for a teenager who was still trying to figure out who she was. However, it was in that maelstrom of feeling and storytelling that I had the opportunity to meet Drake Hogestyn, the individual who was responsible for bringing John Black to life. Now, as I sit here in the year 2025, trying to come to terms with the news of his departure, I find myself again returning to the same thought. This does not appear to be true. Not only did Drake have the ability to fill a room with his presence, but he also inhabited John Black in a way that made him something that was larger than life. John was a character that could play a variety of roles in a single episode, including those of a spy, a priest, a lover, and a father. Because of his amazing skill, Drake was able to make every unexpected turn of events feel grounded and real. His ability to take a sentence that might have sounded ludicrous on paper and have it resonate with truth is something that I remember marveling at as I watched him in scenes. I was his on-screen daughter when I played the role of Belle, and the scenes that we shared together were some of my favorites. There was a warmth in his gaze, a steadiness that made you feel safe, even when the cameras were not rolling. Both of these qualities were present. I am reminded of the first day I worked on the set. Concerned that I could trip over my own feet or forget a cue, I was trembling with anxiety and fumbling with my lines. Drake took note of it. He didn't have to because he was a seasoned professional and a top celebrity, whereas I was just a fresh kid. On the other hand, he took me aside during a break, poured me a cup of coffee, and said, "You're doing good, child. Inhale and exhale. She's got this, and you do as well, Belle." Drake was the one who said that. It wasn't enough for him to play the role of father. He actually lived the role, both on and off the screen. He possessed a unique ability to instill a sense of belonging in you, as if you were a component of something that was more significant than yourself. The television show Days of Our Lives was not only a storytelling masterpiece, but it also served as a family. There was a lot of laughter, craziness, and the kind of camaraderie that can only be achieved by spending 12-hour days together, memorizing lines, and pretending to cry on cue. The set was like a second home. That was largely due to Drake's involvement. He would stroll onto the set with a tale, which was typically about his children or a golf game that had gone spectacularly wrong, and all of a sudden, everyone was laughing, and the tension that had been building up during the day would disappear. There was a spark in him that made you want to match his enthusiasm, and he had this energy that was contagious. The role of Belle was a blessing. She was a complicated person. She was courageous but tender, devoted but obstinate. The exploration of her relationships, particularly those with her parents, John and Marlena, was a lot of fun for me. There was a spark between Drake and Deidre Hall, who plays Marlena. That was really intoxicating. I had the opportunity to be a part of that interaction for the first time as their on-screen daughter, and it taught me a great deal about acting. The way that Drake listened in situations was not simply waiting for his turn to speak, rather he was actually listening to what was being said. Because of this, every single event seemed to come to life, as if the story were being told for the very first time. I'd look at him and say to myself, that's exactly what I want to do. That is the way I would like to tell stories. It was as if a wave was washing over me when I learned that Drake had passed away. When I was sitting in my living room, browsing through my phone, I noticed that a text message had been sent to me from a former castmate from Days. "Have you heard anything about Drake?" When I opened the link, my heart fell before I even opened it. No, this can't possibly be true, I kept thinking to myself. On the off chance that it was a rumor or some kind of mistake, I called a few different folks. It was not the case. It is still a dream that I am unable to wake up from. Even now, several days after it occurred, over and over again, I anticipate that he will either post something on social media or that he will announce that he is organizing a reunion for the band days, during which he will make jokes about how John Black will most likely return from the grave for the third time. Bereavement is a peculiar emotion. It's not simply melancholy. It's this tangled web of memories and possibilities that I'm having. My mind keeps going back to certain instances from the set, such as Drake making fun of my infatuation with iced coffee, or the time we spent the entire lunch break arguing whether John and Belle would ever be able to reach a consensus on anything. It is also the fans that I think about. The most devoted viewers are those who watch Days of Our Lives, and they were huge fans of Drake. When it came to them, John Black was more than simply a character. He was a hero and a permanent presence in their lives. I have witnessed the flood of praises that have been posted on the internet, the accounts of how Drake's performance moved people, how he made them laugh or cry, or how he rekindled their faith and love. A testament to who he was, not only as an actor, but also as a storyteller who left an impression on the globe. This is a testament. For me, the experience of leaving Days in 2004 was bittersweet. Although I was eager to try out new roles and develop my acting skills, it was difficult for me to say goodbye to Belle and Salem because it seemed like I was leaving a part of myself behind. On the other hand, I carried those years with me, and I maintained conversations with a large number of the cast members, including Drake. At other gatherings, we would run into each other, and it seemed as though no time had passed at all. There were times when he would offer me his wide smile, inquire about my life, and in some way make me feel as though I was still the 19-year-old boy who he had taken under his wing. The more I think about those days, the more I understand how much of an impact they had on me. My time spent working on Days of Our Lives was more than simply a job. It was a period of my life that provided me with invaluable lessons in resiliency, creativity, and the significance of connection. Drake played a significant role in that. All of his qualities, including his humor, his friendliness, and his dedication to his art, left an impression on me. I think of the scenes that we had together, the quiet times that off camera, and the way that he made everyone around him feel like they were seen. Moreover, I can't help but constantly going back to this sensation. It's not real. How could someone who was so alive and so full of life have passed away? I do not possess any answers. My opinion is that grief does not give you those. Nevertheless, I do have memories, and I am thankful for them. My gratitude extends to Drake for the time I was able to spend with him, and for the lessons he imparted to me without even making an effort. I am thankful for Days of Our Lives, for the tales that we shared together, and for the fans who continue to honor those stories with their loyal support. I would also like to express my appreciation to Drake Hogestyn, a man who, simply by being himself, has made the world a little bit better and a little bit nicer. Have a peaceful rest, Drake. To me, you will always be John Black, and you are so much more than that.